Hi, everyone, and welcome to this ArtsWorcester virtual artist talk. My name is Alice Dillon, and I'm the assistant director. And today we will be talking with artist Rebecca McGee Tuck. Rebecca is a fiber artist, sculptor, and collector of lost objects. Her work is a visual narrative of what she accumulates from a throwaway society, and as a result, how she gives new life to what others discard. Her exhibition along the Wrack line is currently installed in our East Gallery and received the Present Tense Prize, awarded to an artist whose work exemplifies new practices, artistic risk-taking, and excellence in execution. You can view Along the Wrack line on our website, artsworcester.org, and across our social media at ArtsWorcester. Today, Rebecca will be talking about some of her pieces, her process, and some of the larger issues that make this work so important. Let's start off with the title. What is a Wrack line, and why is it so important for us to go there?
Hi, everybody. Yes, the Wrack line is it's literally the line of debris that gets washed up by the ocean at the high tide watermark. 95% of the debris of the materials that I use in the show along the Wrack line, I would say 95%, were collected by me within the last year. It's my journey, and the show is the accumulation of that journey.
Can you walk me through your process? What happens between you walking onto that beach and you presenting this artwork at a place like ArtsWorcester?
I am a found object artist, and I always collect from the trash or tag sales or dumpsters and things like that. And I also love spending time at the beach, and I always have. And it's just a place where I love to be. So the Wrack line just made sense for me to collect from. But what happens when you spend your time at a place you love picking up trash? Pounds and pounds of trash. There's lots of it. It's upsetting, and it becomes sad, and then you get angry about it.
What happens when you see a piece and you actually pick it up? Do you clean it before you present it at the gallery?
Objects are what I get inspired by, and so when I'm picking up from the beach, there's a lot of things that have to happen before it becomes the artwork itself. I pick up, I collect, and then I'll end up spending a day sorting it, like untangling ropes and fishing lines and taking things apart. Maybe a lot of things are connected to like lobster traps and things, so disassembling. And then I'll start like piling it together and grouping it into piles, I guess, of things that have like textures or things, different ways that I could use them. Then, of course, it's always got salty spray or organic matter attached to it. So I'll take it all out and lie it in my driveway and like hose it down with a hose, and I'll leave it there for a couple weeks pretty much. And I think the sun dries it out in the non-ocean area. Anything that really is terribly funky, I guess I can't use, but that's how I do it: sorting and cleaning and drying.
I mean, I can confirm that the gallery definitely looks like an ocean, but does not smell like an ocean. So I think you've perfected that process. You mentioned that you get inspiration from the actual objects. Can you speak a little bit more about that, or any other inspirations you have when creating?
Sure. Yeah, I guess I want to talk about Hauser Laid, which is a piece that I guess you would call a ready-made piece, meaning that when it was found, it was half buried in from the tides under lots of sand on a deserted part of the beach, and it had to be pulled out and dragged, and it was just so interesting. This piece, I was so like curious about it because I was wondering, was it mooring a fishing vessel? Was it like a Disney cruise line tow rope, or is it old, new? How long had it been swishing around in the ocean? And as I was like, after I washed it and I had it laying out and I was about to like take it apart to use it as the materials, the stories just kept on coming up in my head, and I realized that like this was the piece. So that's how I guess I was inspired by like Marcel Duchamp. His ready-mades are like he takes an ordinary object and gives it new significance by putting it in the context of art. So it was that was the piece, and I had the same experience with Green Tides as well, which is kind of a woven piece where I collaborated with the ocean on that one. I like to say Rauschenberg is my art hero, and he kind of lives between art and life. He picks up ordinary art objects and mixes them with his art materials. And I guess I like to think that my art lives between art and storytelling.
When you're laying all of these pieces of debris out, how do you pick what goes into what piece?
At one point, I changed my sorting process from texture and material to color, just to change it up. And because texture and material, I'm grabbing things of the same likeness, and color it was a whole kind of different way of looking at the stuff I had. And I have to mention that I'm also a welder. In order to make fiber sculpture three-dimensional, that's how I do it. I have a welding studio. It's my garage. I'll weld bits and pieces together and make forms, which I like to call skeletons. And then I'll bring it into my studio where I'll try to figure out what kind of fiber to put on it, I guess. And at one point I'm experimenting in that way. And I had in my sorting bins, I had the bait bags that were filled with rope and line. And I kept like filling it into the skeleton. And I was realizing that I was making something that to me represented a figurehead of a ship. And that's how prowess was kind of made, from sorting bin to gathering to sculpture.
So something that I heard over and over from visitors was that your work is simultaneously very beautiful, colorful, all of that, but also really frightening because of its implications of what's going on in our oceans. And I really think there's no piece that embodies that more, both the joy and the emotional weight of what's going on, than Happy Birthday Ocean. Can you talk a little bit more about that piece and how you manage this duality?
So I guess it was around July, I was noticing a huge amount of balloons tangled in when I was doing my walk, like mile-hour balloons. I was finding them tangled up in everything and collecting them. And this actually was the first time I crowdsourced some material, because I ended up going onto a Facebook group for the Hammerock Beach, the beach that I like, and asking people if they were having this experience finding balloons as well. And they were. I ended up leaving a collection bin out and asking people to, if they found balloons, to add it into the bin of balloons. And I ended up collecting about 150, more than 150. In Happy Birthday Ocean, there's 150 balloons. And I guess I wanted to create a statement piece with all this material, all this these balloons. And balloons are for celebration, so a statement piece seemed to be the way to go. And I was sewing them together, like quilting, and trying to figure out how I was going to do this. And the jellyfish form, I guess, came because I wanted to put a floating aspect to the work because of the balloons, and I guess an ocean and jellyfish and balloons. It made sense to me. So that's how it came to be. And it's both celebratory and very sad.
So my last question is really about the viewers. When we're looking at along the Wrack line, Should viewers be scared? Should we be hopeful? Is there a call to action here?
I'm going to say that our future right now is more hopeful than it was before with the new administration coming in, because they are promising to reduce single-use plastic and address climate change. And that's a positive thing. As you know, I've been inspired to join a group called Surf Rider Foundation, the Massachusetts chapter, which is committed to cleaning up beaches and coastlines. They are inspired me to break free from single-use plastics, definitely. And hopefully seeing some of the work that I have in the gallery, you may be inspired in that way as well, to make ocean-friendly changes in your life. And if you're interested in finding out any information about how you can help the ocean or the cleanups in any way, you can go on their website, which is surfrider.org. And they have all information about all the plastic-free living that I've been living by lately. So
thank you, Rebecca, for speaking with us today, and to everyone watching at home. If anyone has any questions for Rebecca or us at ArtsWorcester, you can go ahead and leave them in the comments on our social media, or send an email to info@artsworcester.org. And again, to see along the Wrack line and some behind-the-scenes images of its creation, you can go ahead and visit artsworcester.org. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.